Hey, I am here excited. I can't wait to talk to my friend Ali Banholzer. But before we totally jump in, I do want to give a little background, a little context here for what we're going to do and why I'm so excited about this conversation. So, Ali is in a really unique position in our industry. She has a successful business. And she's often talking about strategy, but she's not just talking about strategy, she's actually executing on it. So she's running her business every day and she's working with data and working with AI. And I just thought this conversation has to get recorded and I can't wait to talk about it. She is the owner of Wear Your Spirit Warehouse, and they work closely with first responders, fire departments, schools, businesses, etc. Um, and so, Ali, you have also a partner. You are a partner with Marshall. You are the co-founding partner. I don't know how you guys connect or what you say, but Shirt Lab. You're together with Shirt Lab, so let's throw that out there. But the
There you
cool
go.
thing is that you are helping educate people, and you're guiding other apparel decorators and other people that are engaged in print and promo across the country. And you've recently started speaking, so you were invited to go speak at the Impressions Expo, and then you got another special invitation to be at ThreadX. And so I'm like, okay, this is my friend Ali. She's killing it. I can't wait to talk. So, Ali, thanks for being here today. So excited. You said something really, really, really important, and I wrote it down, and I don't write everything down. And this one really hit me. It landed with me. And you said something to the effect that data without decision triggers is just clutter, just more clutter. And so we are going to talk a little bit about data, and you can explain what that means. But that was a moment for me. I'm so glad that you said it. So, let's start there with the data. It's important. Obviously, we hear all about data. We hear all about AI right now. But if you don't know what to do with it, and you don't know how to decide on it or make it turn into action, it just starts to feel like more overwhelm. Am I wrong?
Nope, you are exactly right. Um, we hear before I was speaking and teaching and part of Shirt Lab, I was running my business. I've been running my business for 22 years, and I always wanted to get better. I think as entrepreneurs, we always want to get better, right? So we seek out education, we seek out experts, we try to have conversations with people we know, we listen to the latest podcasts.
Hmm.
And you continually hear about data, and you need to be doing this or you need to be doing that. And you don't, sometimes you get the why, but a lot of times you don't get the why. And then pretty soon you're like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm collecting this data because somebody said I needed to be collecting this, but that doesn't even really fit my business, but they said I needed to do it, so I'm going to do it, right? And all of a sudden you're so overwhelmed that you have decision fatigue or
Yeah.
analysis paralysis. You can't even make a decision because you don't know where to look and what data to look at. You don't know what expert to turn to because some of the experts are in conflict with each other. And ultimately, you do nothing, right?
Mm,
Which is
yes.
worse than doing something imperfectly, right? We say, I say a lot, done is better than perfect because sometimes we wait for it to be perfect and then we don't do it. So I look at data in a similar fashion. You have to pick and choose what makes sense for your business. And if the data you're collecting isn't driving decisions for your business, then why are you collecting it?
Hmm.
Right? So,
Hold on. Let that land. Then why are you even collecting it? Like, if you're not doing anything with the data, except I guess that's just more busy work.
right. And time is money. And as owners or entrepreneurs, or even let's say you're a chief operating officer, right?
Right.
If you're, depending on the size of your business, if you're collecting something and you're spending time on it and you're not using it, meaning you're not making decisions with it, you're wasting your time. And I don't know about you, but I don't have enough time as it is. So why am I going to go collect this and not use it? Right?
Right.
And that's even it's pounded into our heads. You have to collect production data. You have to collect production data. You have to collect production data. If you're not collecting production data, how are you scheduling? How do you know what your turnaround times are? How do you even set your pricing? right? And I, for one, I'm going to say, yes, absolutely collect production data. Make it as easy as possible. Remove the friction. When you have the data, then what are you going to do with it? How often are you going to look at it? Are you going to look at it? Are you going to have your production staff collect data all the time and then you only look at it once a year?
Mm,
That's a waste because I know I
yeah.
can look back January last year, the data I would have collected then, or let's say March last year, the data I would have collected now, then until March of this year, that data is outdated. Like, if I didn't act on it then and make decisions on it then, it was a complete waste of time.
I hear you, and I've been learning from you. And so thank you, because like I said, you're in this unique position because you're not just teaching this stuff, you're running your shop and you're doing it with the data and you're making decisions. And I think that that's what I wanted to unlock a little bit, was to say, okay, Ali, okay, what's one thing, like share with us then the change in your thinking, or something that's been a big impact, something that you do now that you didn't do then. Like, what's that one change in your thinking from data, from the now that you have the information, it's making an impact on how you operate your business, your shop.
So, one thing that's different now is I have a legitimate data plan, which is what data are we collecting? Why are we collecting it? Who's collecting it? And what decisions does it drive? And this may even get more to your point. Maybe I rambled a little bit initially. What decision does it drive also has a trigger point, meaning if I'm going to track my gross margin, and I've defined it that I'm going to track it year over year so that last March is comparable to this March, and I can see the fluctuations because sometimes my profit margin might be lower because it's slow, but I'm not letting employees go, and that eats into the profit margin, right? But I'm looking at it year over year. I've predetermined that if my profit margin this March falls below X percentage, then I have to do A, B, or C,
Ah, I love that. There you go. That's the trigger. That if
right?
this data is real, and I hit this line, I hit this number, I predetermined that you have the input on, you made that decision, but then you're linking it to, then I do A, B, or C.
Yes.
I
And
love that.
that's the trigger. You have to have that predefined because you can look at it and okay, great, I know what my profit margin is. Am I going to raise prices? Am I going to let an employee go? Am I going to do a big marketing campaign? Am I going to have
Hmm.
a sale to drive cash flow? But if you're just looking at the numbers are just going up and down, eh. Another change that I've made in the last 2 years of my business is to be very, very methodical about working on the business instead of in the business. I've got a small business. I have 9 employees. So, yes, there's going to be times we've got orders, somebody's going to call out, I'm going to have to jump into production. But I have physically removed myself from the shop 3 days a week. So,
Congratulations. That's huge. That's
well,
fantastic.
it's
So that
great, but I'm still working. I'm
I know
not
you are, but you don't have to
contrary
physically.
contrary to popular belief, I'm not out on a sailboat.
I was just going to say, but working on a sailboat still means you're working.
Well, this is true. And sometimes I actually have a little portable printer, battery operated printer that I can take on my sailboat to be able to work. But beside the point. Um, because I if I'm not in the shop, I can't be the quick answer for the employees. They can't just come and interrupt me, and I can dedicate time to working on the business.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, so focusing in on working on your business and not in your business. That's a classic E-Myth revisited. Love that phrase. Totally believe in it. I wish all business owners really did what you're doing, is to walk that walk. So you said you're very specific about the data, and you have a data plan. And so how are you not getting overwhelmed with that? Is it just the time that you're dedicating to this? Is it that on Mondays you spend an hour doing X? I mean, you don't have to go into the deep dark corners of, what's going on over there, but just like, how does it work for you to keep it simple and not be overwhelmed?
yeah, so some of it is I absolutely have dove into the world of AI and I use AI. I use agents to pull data. I've got my own closed model, so it's not exposed out to the world. And I let my AI do a lot of it and just give me my end results. And then I'll spot check it to make sure that it hasn't lost its mind.
Go on.
So truthfully, the more I automate, the more data I'm able to look at. So before I looked at this much data, right? I looked at a few key indicators, a few KPIs, and
Okay.
those changed. I looked at three KPIs consistently every week, year over year.
Can you
Even
share them?
sometimes,
Can you share what are the three, or are you making that up?
yeah. No, no, I'm not making it up. I look at, well, let's do the five that I look at now.
Okay.
Gross revenue, labor expense, because it's the most, for me, that's my most
Right.
expensive
Right.
part,
Labor.
labor. Um, Error rates,
Okay.
late orders, and accounts receivable, like time to pay. How long is it taking my customers
Okay.
from, and no, we don't order anything. We're 100% pay up front. We don't order anything until they've paid for
Yeah.
their order.
Money's in. So
However, so what is that time between quote and payment? Because I've got a salesperson babysitting it. So it's still time and money.
right.
So those are the five I look at every week.
Well, that's great, and thank you for sharing those. It gives us more context and more insight to. Hey, there's five places that you could start. If you're not today, those are really really important drivers of your business. Most business owners already know that, and they're already pretty deep into that. But and then manage those five, and when you get great at those, and you can add in another one, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So
And when I say error rate, I want to clarify that a little bit
okay,
because what I'm really looking at is the ratio between gross revenue and cost of goods sold.
the ratio between, say it again,
Gross revenue,
yeah, and
cost of goods sold.
okay,
And the reason that's important is because those two should be proportional. The more you sell, the more your cost of goods are going up. The less you sell, the less cost of goods, right? Because those are all
right,
your
right.
blanks. Those are all of those things. And so that ratio should stay proportional. And if that ratio really starts to tick up in about or that tick down, your cost of goods sold go up in comparison to your gross revenue, then one
Something
of two
their
things is
errors are being
happening.
made.
You've
Yeah.
got lots of errors, or one of your distributors made a price increase you haven't accounted for.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. That's great. Those are really good examples. You've been learning more and more because I've been listening to you, and we've had lots of other side conversations and other work that we're doing together at Shirt Lab and some of the sprints and some of the fast tracks, etc. But AI in apparel, that's kind of where I want to go now. AI in apparel, here we are, apparel decorators tune in. As it relates to workflow automation, we hear the buzzwords AI, and then right behind it seems to be automation.
Mhm,
So there's a lot of noise about that right now. And I
mhm.
think that that's part of the mystery of it. Like, what does that mean? How does it work for me? So, from your perspective as the business owner and as a quote operator, like, where is that AI piece giving you an automation factor? Like, is there something that got automated in your business because you applied an AI principle or the data helped you decide that?
Um, so there's lots of different areas that I'm applying AI. Some of it's automation, some of it's cost reduction. I'm not replacing, nor am I planning to replace any employees. Um,
They're going to be happy to hear that because they're all going to listen to this. So,
if I tell them I did. No, I'm kidding. Um, no, so automation, quick and easy. I put AI, Copilot. We're a Microsoft shop. I let in the hands of all of my employees because they can really quickly ask questions. They can very quickly help get emails written. They can sort their inboxes for junk, high priority jobs, those kinds of things. AI is getting better and better at figuring out sentiment, so it can pre-read your emails for you. It can determine the sentiment. This is an angry customer. You need to get back to them right away. It can give you a proposed email response
Hmm.
that you can read, make whatever changes you want, and send it. All very quickly. And that's a quick swat of your inbox in the morning that just helps you I come into an inbox with about 300 emails in it, and 95% of it's junk. And yeah, there's the focused and the other, or there's the spam or the junk or the promotion. But based on the industry we're in a promo industry.
Hmm.
So Gmail not knowing my business or Microsoft Outlook not knowing my business is going to sort a lot of emails that I actually need into promo
Yeah, into the
or spam.
promotions or spam, right? And so you have to check there too, even though it said it was spam.
So
Totally get that.
if you train up your email, train up your copilot, just be like, no, I want to read those emails
Hmm.
from XYZ.
Right.
When I very, very first started getting into AI, it was a good 2 years ago. One of the very first things I did was I had it write a collection letter for me. And I gave it the information based on the number of days late payment was. And I have about, I have certain industry segments that I do offer terms to, public schools, city governments,
Hmm.
because they just, a lot of them won't even do business with you if you require
Right.
it
Of
upfront.
course.
Um, but man, I hate writing collection notes. It's the worst thing in the world. So I just said, okay, write me a collection note for accounts receivable that's 10 days late. Make it gentle, friendly, and just a reminder. Now write me one that's for invoices over 30 days. Make it a little more firm, but still friendly, cordial, good
Hmm.
relationship, blah, blah, blah. And then I had it write a third one that was very firm. Like, look, you're 90 days late.
Yeah.
You're in jeopardy of losing your ability to order from us, but said in a much more professional way. And
Right.
the way it was able to word it and come up with it and do it in 30 seconds or less, I was like, ooh, I'm sold. Bring me more
Yeah.
AI. That was the very first thing I did.
Oh,
And
that's a great
man,
example. You once shared with me that you are ambitiously looking for ways to use AI and automation to help save money. How else you're using this as a real tool to help reduce the cost of something that you're paying X for, and now you're paying a lot less.
every year, year over year, one of my goals of being more efficient is to reduce my expenses by 3%, 3% a year. And I would work really, really hard to do that. And then I would meet with my CPA and we'd look at expenses and we'd look at all of it. And my software subscriptions were eating up any savings that I made.
Hmm.
And I was getting so frustrated because every time you want to do something, well, here's a new software program that'll do it, but we're going to charge you per person, per month. Oh, sure, you can go annual and reduce it, but heck, I don't even know if I like this software yet to do an annual subscription. Well, you can try it out for 2 weeks. I don't know about you, but there's no software in the world that I've been able to set up in 2 weeks and know
And
it's the one I
master,
want
yeah.
and know that I want it for my business. So, um, I Shirt Lab AI Summit at
Yep.
M&R in Chicago
I
this
was
last.
there. Awesome event, by the way. Shout out to Shirt Lab. Shout out to you and Marshall and all of the speakers and panelists. That was so good. And thank you, M&R. If somebody listening from
Yes,
M&R is there, amazing to have that. That tour was amazing.
that
Like
was that
I
was
was,
incredible. And
I
if I
was.
may, you can edit this out, but quick little shout out promo. This year we're doing that AI summit virtually because a lot of people couldn't travel and get there.
Oh, cool.
And
No, I'm not
right.
going to edit this out.
And so we're going to do the AI summit virtually on June 23rd. So block out your calendar.
All
It's going
right.
to be 6 hours of fire,
Woo.
absolute fire. I went to that AI summit. That's actually the very first time I heard anything about vibe coding. I'm like, what is this vibe coding we are speaking about? I wasn't
Right.
the presenter on it, obviously.
Right.
And I went home from that and I went and I looked at the software program that was suggested. And I'm like, oh, this is incredible. But I don't like this software. I'm going to keep looking for others. And I found another one that I liked. And I dove in. And now I'm maybe 8 months in. I have I don't know a single code. I know a little bit of SQL from 30 years ago. That's it. I know no coding.
Gotcha.
Hopped into vibe coding, said, this is what I want to do. I was very clunky at first. I was successful, but not crazy successful. I learned how to use ChatGPT to refine my asks for vibe coding
Okay.
and play the two against each other. So then I had like two experts that I just sat back and listened to, like literally two AI agents talking to each other about what I want to do to come up with the best plan. And then when they go back and forth and get it all sorted out, I'm like, yes, implement that. And through doing that now for 8 months, I've now saved $24,000 in software subscriptions for my business.
Wow. Oh my God. That's dramatic. That's impressive.
So,
Woo. Congratulations. That's a big deal. Good for you, man.
yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean,
slow golf clapping. I'm just saying,
but then the flip side of that is, yeah, there's been a huge savings. But the flip side of that is, I actually now have software to run my business exactly the way I want to run my business. I
right,
don't have to put in a feature request and wait for somebody to say, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll code that months from now. Or, no, Allie, you're the only one that wants that for your business. We're never going to code that.
right. It's so specific to what you actually want that there was never going to be a build for that.
No,
What other pluses are there? What other pluses to do it? That's a lot. That was 8 months, say 6 months, 6 months of really digging in, really perfecting it, finding something that you loved. But now it's saving you massive. That's more than
Mhm.
3%, I'm going to guess. So kudos to you. You and your CPA can go take each other out to dinner or
That's
whatever.
right. Another
Um,
boat. No, I'm kidding.
Celebrate on the boat. No. Don't buy any more boats. Just use the ones you have.
Yes.
Um, but so my question is, like, does that mean now, would you agree with the statement? But now you have the confidence, and having gone through that what else is coming around the corner, or what else can I do, or what else could I work on?
Yes. So initially it was how do I replace this? And I'll straight up, the first thing I did was I was paying $60 a month for a time clock app for my employees. And I went, that's pretty basic. Like, that's not super hard. And so I set about to create a time clock app.
Okay,
And
so
that,
every employee can use something. They have something that they can now use that you built that you're no longer paying $60 a month for.
correct.
Okay.
And it cost me about $10 to build. Yeah. So my evolution in this was first, hey, what is vibe coding? Ooh, that's pretty cool. Okay, let's jump in and play. Okay, let's find a real world application. Okay, let's see how much of my software subscriptions I can replace. And I will tell you, there are some I won't replace. I'm not going to be able to replace Adobe Illustrator for my art department. I'm not going to I'm not going to replace QuickBooks for my finances. Way too many regulations, things change too fast. I'm not an accountant, not going there.
Gotcha.
But a lot of other things, yes.
Yeah, good. Well,
Fill in gaps. And so then it was okay, replace, replace, replace. Now my next evolution that I'm really playing in is the art of what's possible.
hmm,
What
the art.
is what
Let
have I
that land. That sounds like a really cool podcast title or a book you're writing. The art of what's possible.
the art of what's possible? Like what have I not even thought about or what has never been attainable for my business because of my size and budget that I can now do with AI
Hmm. That you couldn't previously do.
that I
Was
couldn't previously do. Like,
wow, that's such a
hey,
great
how fast
insight.
can I launch 100 landing pages?
That's so, how specific can I make those landing pages? How quickly could I do an email campaign, drip campaign for those specific landing pages?
Right.
I mean,
Where before it was like, okay, maybe I can do a landing page that talks about school sports teams, and I'm going to try to get all of the school sports teams in the area. Well, now I can create a landing page so fast with AI. I can do a landing page that specifically targets Huntingtown High School football for 2027. Let's go.
yeah, that's so cool. I love it. That's what gets me excited is the ability to think the ideas that we were always thinking about that were possible. People were able to do this. We were doing this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, but it was very cumbersome, very laborious, took a long time to execute, and then, changes and that. So
Well, and
exciting stuff.
you couldn't come up with an idea today, implement it tomorrow, and have data to show if it was worthwhile within a week, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
10 years ago, if you wanted to do that, it was a very long,
Long
long process.
process. Yeah.
Now it's quick, it's inexpensive, and there's a flip side to that coin that I'd love to talk about. It's quick, it's inexpensive, and you start getting immediate feedback. So you can press forward or pull it, and it didn't
Right.
cost you so much that you're married to it, going, no, we have to hang on to this website.
Yeah, the sunk cost of everything you invested in, the emotion and the psychology of it. So, okay, so what's the flip side? If you pick up the stick, you got both ends of the stick. So what's the
Right.
other, what's
So
the rub?
the other end is kind of like having that data plan. If you don't have a plan for what you're doing with AI, relatively well thought out, and AI can help you do that. But if you don't have a plan that's relatively thought out, AI is not going to solve your business problems. If you automate the problems you already have, you're just going to drive yourself to bankruptcy faster.
Faster. So you're gonna so it's like this. So if you can't stand the radio station that's on, turning it up louder isn't helping.
Correct.
Okay.
I
And
love
getting
that
and
analogy. That is a great analogy, Jay. So, yeah, if you don't have your SOPs in place, or you don't have your data plan in place, or you don't have your decision triggers in place, and you start automating it with AI, like you have to train the AI. You have to teach it. It doesn't come in. I tell my staff and people that I'm teaching, think of AI like a new employee in your shop.
right,
You have to
right,
train a new employee on how you do things. They may know the generals of how to screen print, but how do you screen print specifically in your shop, right? We've all
right.
had
Using your
conversations.
particular screens, your setup, your press, the way the physical way it's set up, the orientation, all of it. There's 1,000 variables there that AI would not
Right,
know yet.
exactly. And we've all had the conversation. Would you rather have a brand new person who's never touched a press before and train them up exactly how you want it done? Or do you want to hire somebody with experience that they come in with experience, they may already be trained, but they also come in with their bad habits and every other shop's way of doing things,
Right,
right? In which you want. There's pros and cons to both. I'm not going to argue
right,
one's better than the other,
right.
but either way, there's training involved. So think of AI
Well,
as a new employee, and there's training involved. And if
yeah, I
you're
love it.
not prepared to train them and you just want to turn them loose, man, that's like turning a raccoon on Mountain Dew loose in your shop.
That's funny. Um, so new employee or assistant, because I remember one time I wrote this down because you said think of it as your assistant. AI in
Mhm.
this is an assistant there to assist you with some of the other deeper thinking, or maybe they're better at recognizing patterns, or maybe they're better at doing research and the analysis of the data, not just here's numbers or here's the answer, but now what does that answer mean for me at this time and place in my business setting. Um, so that's such a great lesson learned, and there's real leverage in that, and you demonstrated it. You're the living proof of it. So I love that you've actually created tool sets that are allowing you to leverage that, and now in your business every day. It's not just hype. It's like you did it. You walked the walk, and you've accomplished it. So super cool to hear that, and thank you for sharing those examples. Okay, last question coming to
Okay.
the end, and thank you. I just wanted to kind of start to blend this in, this idea. This is part business owner, this is part marketer, brander, all the things. So one thing that I've seen a lot of in conversations and at trade shows is that shops, whether they're in promo, print, or apparel, business owners want better customers. They want to upgrade that customer base. They want to have customers that argue with them less, pay them more, the dream customers, right? So, but they themselves are still very transactional and treat everyone that they do business with the same. And it's almost like in a vendor relationship. Why do you think the biggest shift that some businesses need to start to make is to start to make the mindset shift, right? That they're not just transactionally doing business for the sake of that, that there is a relationship that's being, created, and that they should reposition themselves as more of a partner rather than just another printer. So what do you think stopping that from happening? What are some things that you could share, some more wisdom or some insights or something to help? Because I think we need to help there.
Yeah, I think unintentionally you and I have woven a thread through the t-shirt of this podcast of are you driving your business or is your business driving you?
Yeah, driving you crazy. Yeah.
Are
Are you
you
are you
sure?
driving your business or is your business driving you? Great
Are you
frame.
making
Perfect.
intentional decisions? Are you are you intentionally marketing to the ideal customer? Are you intentionally looking at data with triggers and making decisions? Are you intentionally employing AI to do specific things in your shop? And are you intentionally working with the customers that you want? It's driving your business with intention. Or
Hmm.
are you sitting back and letting the business happen to you? I'm going to take on every customer that walks through the door. I'm going to quote every person that puts a submission in on my website. I'm hungry. I've got to make payroll and I'm scared because it's ultimately on my shoulders. And I'm an entrepreneur and I have to feed my family and I have employees depending on me and I have to make
Hmm.
payroll. So I'm operating out of fear. I'm letting the business happen to me, and I'm going to take any job that walks in the shop. And
Yeesh.
and that's a scary place to operate from. I've
That's
operated
a
from
really
there
scary.
before.
Well, I think most people start there at some point, right? Let's be real.
Yeah.
Keeping it
And
real.
and
You gotta
what
do what you
I
gotta
have
do.
what I have learned, at least for me, is when I start talking to somebody who's asking me for a quote or to wants to be a customer, I now interview the customer and they want to place an order. I'm very tuned into the questions they're asking and the way they're talking because it tells me if they're gonna be a pain in the butt. And I think I mean, some people have that instinct naturally. I'm not going to say, oh, it's because I've been in the business for 22 years, but I was listening to, I was the fly on the wall in a boardroom last night, and the board started talking about merchandise in online stores.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, pick me, pick me. And then I started listening to him and I went, holy cow, I do not want to work with this customer. Like I can just hear it already. This is a customer that says, "Oh, the first statement was, I've already looked at all of the companies that offer online stores, and they're all too expensive. They're going to charge our parents too much money." And I'm like,
I'm out.
You couldn't spend 10 years to look at all the companies that offer online stores in our industry and make that
Yeah,
determination.
whatever.
So that was one. And then for
That was a
two,
that was a big opener. That was a
right? So my point to all of that is, are you driving your business? Are you driving your business or is it driving you? Are you operating from a place of intention or are you operating from a place of fear? We have
Mhm.
we are at a very unique opportunity right now. We've got AI, we've got all the tools, we've got tons of industry education. There's Shirt Lab, there's all the different conferences and
Mhm.
expos. There's the like if you want education, it's out there. Just go get it.
Yeah, and it's online, by the way. And ChatGPT and Claude will also be your instructor if you ask it questions and if you're curious.
Absolutely. Most of us in this industry, I would say the majority of us in this industry are small. We can make decisions quickly and we can
Hmm.
act upon those decisions quickly versus big business that, all right, we got to get it approved. We've got to do this. We've got to do this. And there's a much longer lead time to get these tools implemented. And so if you step back, come up with a plan, start driving your business, start picking to your specific question the customers you really want to work with. Who do you enjoy working with? Who do you make money
Yeah,
working
right.
with?
And that's changed, I'm sure, for you over the 22 years of business. Where in the beginning you were like, "Oh yeah, I got one on the line," and now you're like,
Every
"No,
customer, every
I can
customer.
already, yeah, no matter where they are, no matter what they do, no matter what they need, yes, yes, yes." You keep
I
saying
used to,
yes. You keep saying yes.
okay, silently, anybody that's listening, raise your hand if you currently or have ever sent out a quote, an email attached to a quote that says, and if you have a quote that comes in at lower than mine, please let me know and give me the opportunity to requote. And I'm
Mm,
like,
bad.
now I look back at that and go,
Why did I
wait,
say
I just
that?
told them they can tell me no, tell me they want cheaper prices.
Yeah.
Eh,
Oh, I got a quote and it was 10% less than yours.
right. Okay, I'll take 10% off. I'll match it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I need this. Well, and it's just, that's part of the journey. That's part of
It
learning.
is.
That's part
It
of
is.
growing up. That's part of the maturity of where you were 20 years ago versus where you are today. Well, Ali, we've got to wrap it up. You were
Yep.
so great with all of your time and all of your wisdom. And I mean, I had some takeaways in this for sure. The line about, AI doesn't just help you move faster. It's more than that. And then, just the ideas of at some point we don't just want to be doing more work, right? I love the fact that we kind of talked about becoming the kind of business that we want to be because of the people that we want to be and the people we want to serve and who we want to work with and the time that we want to have. I hope, this is my hope with AI, that it frees us up to do more emotional and more creative work, and that we actually do that, or that we reinvest that time that we now have free with our family or with more meaningful things, that we don't just jam it with more work. And one of the things that really hits home to me is this isn't just about doing more. It's also this idea of the clarity, right? We're thinking clearer, we're making better decisions because of the data. And I'm willing to meet people where they are, and I hope they're not just busy and in the pursuit of more, 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 more. And I think that that's not what I'm about. That's not what you're about. So hopefully that came through, because when we start talking about AI and automation, sometimes that's the flywheel that kind of keeps spinning. People want to do more, 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 and more. But for everyone watching, please follow Ali on LinkedIn. Follow Ali wherever you can. If you're at an impression show, say hi. If you're at a Shirt Lab event, give her a high five. You're such a great friend, and I'm so glad we had this time together. Ali
Thanks, Jay.
Banholzer. Anything else before we say goodbye?
I appreciate you. You're awesome. You push our industry
Ah,
forward. And
stop. Don't make this about me.
oh, no, no, no. And no, I want to say this is my one thing. I really appreciate how you are trying to get promo and print to collaborate more together. And I mean, we're all out there hustling.
Yeah, we are. We're very similar. We're cousins at the semi-dysfunctional family reunion. Thank you. I appreciate you, and thank you for the compliment. And yes, we'll work on that together. So until we say hello again somewhere soon, I will say goodbye for now, and take care. And everybody, let's keep talking about it.
Thanks, Jay.